Hi guys, I had an opportunity to teach a first-time homebuyers class a couple days ago, and there were some great questions from the students that prompted me to do a video today talking about the homebuyers checklist. And just to kind of go over what are some of the essential things to look out for when you're starting the home buying process, going through a transaction. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about what some of the questions were that were asked. Today was just going to be a little bit more laid back in terms of the conversation because I thought it was really interesting and I want to share with you guys. First and foremost, one of the questions I was asked is, how do you pick a realtor? And I was very keen and very frank about what to look for when picking a realtor. And some of the things I mentioned was, one, competency, making sure that your realtor is competent. I know it seems like something really basic, but it's really an attribute that you really need to look for, and making sure that they understand logic, they have common sense, and that they are able to negotiate, right? Secondly, you also want to make sure that your realtor is very knowledgeable about the local markets. Is it a seller's market? Is it a buyer's market? What are some of the trends that's happening in real estate right now? What are my chances of really getting the home that I want? Can you be realistic with me about what I want, my needs versus my wants, my actual pre-approval, and the type of home that I'm looking for? How are you going to go to bat for me as my realtor? You know, what are some of the types of offers that you put in on behalf of your clients? What makes your offer strong? You know, what are some examples you could provide to me about some of your best deals and what went well? And you know, how are you going to fight for me as my realtor? So I think it's really important to just kind of see, just kind of fill your realtor out in terms of, what are their work ethic? Are they a good communicator? Do they answer their phone every time that you call them? Are they very upfront with you about letting you know what the process is? Even in some areas where it's not a realtor's job to, go over, what it takes to get pre-qualified, what are some different loan products. The more knowledgeable your realtor is, the more confident you should feel that they're gonna, really advocate for you and work with you through a transaction. So I thought that was a great question that was asked to me about, what to look for in a realtor. Also, another question that was asked is, what do I actually have to do, or what is my role in a real estate transaction, right? So one thing I stress to a lot of buyers is, once you get your offer accepted, make sure you protect your assets at all costs. Don't go negative on any of your don't go negative on any of your checking accounts. Make sure that you pay all of your credit card payments on time. Don't default on any payments at all. Don't get a new credit card. Don't, buy a car, or don't, let anyone use your credit. You want to protect your assets at all costs, especially while you're in the middle of a real estate transaction. Don't do anything that's going to jeopardize the transaction. Of course, there are some unforeseeable events or circumstances that might take place. For instance, you might lose your job. Your financial situation might change. If you had a part-time job, you might lose your part-time job, or if your income has changed. There are a lot of things that can happen that can jeopardize a transaction while you're in the process of it. So you just want to be very upfront with your lender, be upfront with your realtor about things that are going on in your life, particularly that can impact the sale. But most importantly, protect your assets. And lastly, one other question that I thought was interesting was about the final walkthrough. Well, what does that mean? What's the significance of it? The significance of a final walkthrough is to determine that the home is still in the same condition that it was when you first seen it, when you went through inspection, when you went to the open house. Now, when you are negotiating a deal, sometimes the seller might have some items in the home that are non-negotiable. They might say, I'm taking my washer and dryer. Or, there is a specific thing in the home that wasn't specifically stated that they were taking with them. And next thing you know, when you're doing the final walkthrough, which is usually the day before, the day of closing, it's not there. So it's really important that when you're doing the final walkthrough in the home, that everything that was stated to be in the home is still there. You have an opportunity as a buyer to withhold funds at closing if for some reason the washer and dryer that they never said they were taking away is no longer there, or if there was a specific light fixture that was that was really stood out in the home that you thought was amazing, that's no longer there. And so, or anything that wasn't stated that was not going to be there is gone. So the final walkthrough is really important in a real estate transaction, and making sure that the house is exactly how you wanted it to be, and that there wasn't anything that was miscommunicated, which will cause you to feel like, you know what, I'm not comfortable purchasing this house anymore. So, but yeah, there you have it. I didn't go through the whole buyer's checklist, but I did want to share with you what some students from the first time home buyers class had pertaining to the home buying process and the transactions and what takes place during the transaction. So if you have any questions or want to speak more in depth, holler at your girl. I'll talk to you guys later.